The voice on her phone caused stress to rise across the office. "Do you not value your long-term clients?" Like a razor, the voice sliced through the quiet. She hung up and then turned to face me in silence for a moment before letting out a long sigh and giving me a worried expression. "Mason, what do we do at times like this?" There was a tone of complete hopelessness in her voice. I became increasingly aware that I needed to help her more aggressively. "My name is Mason. I'm 39 years old and I work on an IT company's maintenance team, where my major responsibility is to manage business systems that were created internally. Fixing system issues, enhancing performance, and responding to sporadic user requests for new features are all part of the job description. Each team member supports the others while devoting themselves to certain responsibilities. Answering questions and doing daily system checks are my main responsibilities. I frequently deal with database problems and data update errors, identifying each issue and resolving it. I examine error data and verify system functionality. Although we seldom receive recognition for our job, we make sure everything goes without a hitch by working in the background. Our maintenance crew takes great delight in this, which demonstrates the actual worth of our labor. Once in a while, when a client says, "We chose this system because the support is so reliable," it feels like the best reward. I never really cared about how I was seen within the team. I wasn't someone who stood out or spoke loudly. If anything, I blended into the background. But one day, while going about my usual work, things began to shift slightly. The catalyst for this change was meeting someone new. I, who never felt the need to stand out, started to change because of her. It happened on the day the transfer of the maintenance team leader was announced. The person who arrived as his replacement was Emma. According to her former colleagues, Emma was 34 years old. She had previously excelled in the development department, and her strong desire to contribute to the long-term stability and efficiency of systems led to her being selected as the new maintenance team leader. With her cheerful personality and fair, approachable demeanor, Emma quickly transformed the team's atmosphere from her very first day. Her desk seemed to light up, reflecting her bright character. She carried herself with the confidence of a leader, dressed impeccably in a neat suit, while her features were well-defined. Her gentle expression gave her an approachable charm. Her seat was close to mine, and every time she spoke, her voice had a pleasant way of resonating in my ears. When Emma first came to my desk, I was nervous about what she might say, but she was just making her introductions. "Hello, Mason. I heard from the previous leader that you're experienced and reliable. I might have to rely on you sometimes, but I'm looking forward to working together." Her words put me at ease. "If there's anything I can do, I'm happy to help. I look forward to working with you too." After responding to her cheerful greeting and hopeful gaze, I breathed a sigh of relief. For one word, a smile eased the tension I had been feeling, and naturally, I smiled too. Her positive attitude gave me the energy to approach my work with a renewed mindset. During daily operations, Emma treated everyone equally. When someone had new ideas or suggestions, she would actively encourage team discussions. She even took an interest in the work I quietly tackled. "Mason, how's the progress on the issue?" She'd often ask casually. "They want me to respond today, but it's a bit tricky and might take time. However, we've seen similar issues before, so I'm checking old records for a solution." She always encouraged me. "That sounds tough, but I'm sure you'll figure it out, Mason. Oh, and if you ever hit a wall, don't hesitate to let me know. I can check with the development team for you." Her consideration and kindness gradually started changing me. The previous leader was by no means a bad leader. He was systematic and thoroughly maintained organized management. Under his leadership, work always proceeded according to plan, and there were very few mishaps within the maintenance team. He had extensive technical knowledge and earned the respect of everyone on the team. However, his leadership came with a certain strictness, and at times the team's atmosphere was tense and a little strained. In contrast, Emma's leadership style was flexible and open. She valued each member's opinion and made an effort to create an environment where ideas could be freely expressed. Thanks to her, the team's atmosphere became more relaxed and creative. Even I began to talk more actively with other team members. The internal work life, which often felt isolating, gradually started to feel brighter thanks to her. Her presence had colored my world in ways I hadn't imagined. Each day at the office became something I looked forward to more than before. To my surprise, I found myself enjoying our conversations so much that I started sharing my worries and concerns about work with her. Emma's warm personality and dedicated attitude toward the team slowly began to unravel the tension I carried. One day, Emma approached my desk with a slightly anxious expression. "Mason, there's a bit of a problem. You know that request from the client you handled recently? I went to consult the development team because it's tough for our team to address." Her voice unusually carried a hint of agitation. She was referring to a request I'd received from a client about modifying the report generation feature of their business system. But this wasn't an ordinary issue. The problematic feature had been developed using Procobol, a programming language now considered ancient. No one on our team knew how to handle it, and even the development team had no experience with it. The last person who worked with the language had left the company 4 years ago. Looking at me apologetically, Emma explained, "Our team doesn't have the skills to handle this, and the development team can't step in either. I plan to give the client some kind of answer, but I can't think of a good one right now." Her expression showed just how troubled she was. Seeing her like that, I also wanted to do something, but there seemed to be no way out. Emma had no choice but to inform the client that the issue couldn't be fixed. As I watched her make the call, I could practically hear the client's anger spilling over to our side. The client's frustration practically echoed throughout the office. "Don't you care about your longtime clients?" The voice on the other end cut through the tense silence. She tried her best to respond sincerely, but the voice on the other end only grew angrier. When she finally hung up, she turned to me, silent for a moment. Then, with a deep sigh and a worried look, she said softly, "Mason, what are we supposed to do in situations like this?" There was a hint of despair in her voice. The anxiety in her eyes weighed heavily on my heart as well. That incident made us painfully aware that we still had so much to learn. Technology advances day by day, but sometimes even old technologies need to be revived. That day, we didn't just feel our limitations as engineers, but we were forced to think seriously about how we could grow as a team. Looking into her eyes, I said firmly, "It might be tough, but let's try to find a solution together. At the very least, we should talk to Alex. You don't usually consult him about maintenance issues, but special situations require special measures." Emma looked a bit surprised at my suggestion, but nodded in agreement. "You're right. I'll contact Alex." Her expression seemed to brighten slightly, as if she found a glimmer of hope. She headed off to Alex, the department manager, to explain the problem and its impact, asking for his support. However, when Emma returned from Alex's office, her usual brightness was gone, and the disappointment on her face hinted at an unfavorable outcome. She slowly made her way back to her desk, looked me in the eye, and let out a deep sigh. Then she quietly began to tell me about her conversation with Alex. "Mason, I told Alex everything about the issue. He was pretty firm about it. He said, 'Emma, this is a critical matter. They're one of our key clients and many users have been relying on our business system for years. We can't leave this problem unresolved. So find a solution however you can.'" He emphasized it with a serious look. Her voice trembled slightly under the weight of the pressure. Hearing this, I searched for words to comfort her. It was hard to see her so dejected. At the same time, I felt a confusing surge of emotions toward her. Why does seeing her so down make me feel this way? Why do I feel so compelled to support her? Could it be that I like her? The question swirled endlessly in my mind. This was the first time I had ever felt such emotions. "Emma, please don't carry this burden alone. We're here too, and we'll solve this problem together. If there's anything we can do, just say the word. The whole team will support you." The other maintenance team members nearby chimed in as well. "Emma will help however we can," they said with conviction. She managed a small smile, looking as though she had regained a bit of strength. From that moment, Emma wasted no time. She knocked on the development team's doors repeatedly. The development team had several leaders, but each one gave her the same response when she asked for help. "Nobody uses such an old language anymore. I'm too busy right now. Sorry, it's impossible." Consistently, they turned her down. With each rejection, I could see Emma's expression grow heavier. Watching her efforts firsthand, I knew just how hard she was trying to resolve this issue. She wasn't the type to give up easily. Still, repeated closed doors can break anyone's spirit. Seeing her like that, I knew I had to do something more to support her. I, too, have faced plenty of rejection in the past. Her frustration reminded me of my own struggles years ago, and it hurt to see her in that state. I wanted to help her somehow. As I searched for answers, I recalled my past. During the recession caused by the Lehman shock, I became a job seeker, facing challenges to survive that tough time. I taught myself multiple programming languages. Among those were the basics of SQL and COBOL, which turned out to be related to this issue. While I had never worked with ProSOBOL directly, I thought that maybe this knowledge could help Emma, the team, and the client. I immediately started digging through ProSOBOL manuals and online resources. After work hours, I stayed late into the night studying ProSOBOL syntax and characteristics. I spent my weekends almost entirely at the office exploring ways to combine SQL and COBOL to fix the problem. Even as Emma and the others left for the day, I remained battling the screen alone. During this time, Emma reached out to branch engineers and external vendors, but budget constraints meant all her attempts were turned down. Even as she ran around searching for solutions, she still found moments to check in on me. "Mason, you've been staying late these past few days. Are you handling a bug fix?" I turned away from the screen and looked at her. "Not exactly. I've been researching that protobiol issue, trying to see if there's anything we can do. She looked surprised. What? Mason, didn't you say you didn't have experience with protobiol? I smiled slightly and explained to clear up her misunderstanding. No, I don't, but it's built on a combination of SQL and COBOL. I still use SQL, and I studied COBOL a long time ago. I'm just trying to piece it together. Hearing this, the other maintenance members also stepped up to offer their help. Mason, don't keep this to yourself. I can help with the SQL part. I'll assist with testing, I said. Emma's eyes glistened as she expressed her gratitude to all of us. Thank you so much, everyone. I've been struggling alone. I can't believe how much support you're giving me, Mason. You and the whole team have given me hope. At that moment, I felt a powerful sense of unity as our team came together to tackle this challenge. That unity became our greatest strength. I took the lead in assigning tasks to the team. Despite our usual workloads, we divided the roles strategically, using whatever limited time we had. We paused when needed, repeating corrections and checks as we pushed forward. Each of us played to our strengths, working together with all our might to solve the issue. Even in the midst of our business, collaborating as a team gave us a sense of steady progress. With every obstacle, our bond grew stronger and our mutual support solidified. It was a great opportunity for me to grow in the process of working together as a team toward a common goal. While each person did his or her job well, those days continued for 2 weeks. After countless rounds of trial and error, we finally discovered a solution to fix the program. We ran numerous simulations and conducted thorough tests down to the smallest detail. Then the relief we felt when we confirmed the repaired system worked correctly was beyond words. After completing the fix, we immediately reported it to Emma. Emma, we did it. We fixed the report functionality just as the client requested, all on our own. When she heard the news, her face instantly lit up. After reviewing the fix, she turned to me with a look of genuine gratitude. Thank you so much, Mason. Because of you and everyone here, I think the client will be thrilled, she said, her smile beaming with happiness. Seeing her radiant smile, I felt both relief and an indescribable sense of accomplishment. When we reported the fix to the client, they were extremely satisfied. Hearing their response, Emma and I exchanged small victory high fives in the office. It felt like all the struggles we had faced had suddenly lifted, leaving us with a sense of triumph. This experience not only made me realize the growth I had achieved both personally and as part of the team, but it also strengthened the bond between Emma and me. One afternoon, I was suddenly summoned by Alex. When I entered the room, Alex was sitting at his desk, looking deep in thought. As I walked in, he lifted his head and looked at me. Mason, the report fixed the other day was a huge help. Thank you. With that in mind, I want to assign you as the leader of our next big project. At first, I couldn't process what Alex was saying. I was so surprised that I couldn't speak for a moment. But when I saw the serious look in his eyes, I realized this was no light conversation. Wait, a new project and you want me as the leader? Are you sure I'm the right person for this? Alex smiled apologetically and began explaining. My bad. I should have explained the project first. The next big project involves transitioning the old Procobol system to a more modern programming language that today's developers can work with. You've shown that you can handle Procobol and you're familiar with modern programming languages as well. By switching to a new system, we'll be able to resolve future issues or requests more efficiently. Emma told me that the report fix was only possible because of you. I'm confident that you're the right person to lead this project to success. Hearing his words, I was speechless for a moment. I never expected to be entrusted with such an important role. Thank you, but I'm not sure if I'm confident enough for it. Can I have a little time to think? I replied hesitantly. Alex seemed slightly surprised but quickly softened his expression. I understand, just consider it carefully. I nodded lightly and left his office. Walking down the hallway, my heart felt conflicted. In my experience, my hard work hadn't always paid off. During a time I became a job seeker, facing challenges after the Lehman shock, no matter how hard I worked, my efforts were rarely recognized. Those memories came flooding back as vivid as ever. Not long after, Emma came over to my desk, eager to talk about what she heard from Alex. She seemed genuinely happy about the idea of me becoming the new project leader. Mason, this is such a great opportunity. You're leading a project that's going to be amazing, and we'll all be here to support you. Her words were always full of positivity, but I felt I needed to be honest with her. Emma, to be honest, I'm not sure about this. I'm thinking of turning it down. Her eyes widened in shock before she quickly responded with conviction. What? You absolutely have to take this. What's holding you back? I took a deep breath and opened up about my feelings. There are 2 things that worry me. First, from my past experience, my hard work hasn't always paid off. During the Lehman shock, when I started job hunting, most companies froze hiring. As a liberal arts graduate, I had no standout skills, and for 6 months, I didn't get a single offer. I tried to change my situation, so I threw myself into learning programming languages on the advice of a friend. I ended up teaching myself over 10 languages, but even then, every interview ended the same way: you don't have real work experience. It took over a year before I finally landed a job, and that was only because of a connection. That's when I realized that sometimes effort isn't enough. So now I'm scared that even if I try hard, it might all be for nothing. Emma patiently listened to me, and when I finished, she spoke softly but firmly. "But Mason, this time was different. I saw how alive you were when you tackled that issue, how much you shined. Watching you inspired me too." Her words struck a chord within me. I realized that little by little my recent work had been helping me heal from those past scars. Back when I first started learning programming, I held on to the hope that it might open doors for me, and I also genuinely enjoyed it. That's why I kept learning language after language. Even when Alex brought up the report fix project, a part of me imagined how smoothly it could be done with the right programming tools. Emma's optimism and gentle smile planted a new seed of hope within me. There was no point in being tied down by my bitter past. It was time to move forward again, to have the courage to take another step. Then, Emma asked with a soft smile, "Can I hear the second reason?" Feeling a little embarrassed, I muttered quietly, "Well, I just thought it'd be nice to keep working with you." Hearing that, she looked a little surprised, but her expression quickly softened into a bright smile. "That's even more reason for you to take on the role, Mason. I know you'll turn this project into something incredible. I'm looking forward to seeing you lead the team and support us as the amazing leader I know you can be," she said, encouraging me. Her words gave me the push I needed to solidify my resolve. I decided to take the challenge to work alongside her, supporting one another and growing together. With that vision in mind, I committed to moving forward. For the next 6 months, I threw myself into the report generation feature modification project. When I first accepted the role of project leader, I felt like a heavy weight had been placed on my shoulders, but thanks to Emma and the support of my team members, my initial anxiety gradually transformed into confidence. We decided to migrate the report generation program from Procobol to Python. After careful comparison, Python was chosen based on the development team's familiarity and ease of future maintenance. Every day was spent working late into the night, and weekends were often spent cooped up in the office, but every step we took brought us closer to success. We meticulously combed through the existing code line by line, rebuilding it in the new programming language. My proficiency in multiple programming languages turned out to be a tremendous asset in this project. As the project progressed, collaboration with the development team grew stronger and more seamless. The development team members began to highly value my programming knowledge, and I also received a lot of advice and support from them. The development team's leader, Matthew, approached me one day and said, "Mason, your work on this project has been a huge help, not just the technical solutions, but also the thoughtful documentation and design for long-term maintenance. I've learned so much from you." Hearing those words, I felt like all the long hours of effort had finally paid off. The programming languages I had struggled to learn during my jobless days were now proving to be invaluable, and I realized that all the hardships back then had not been in vain. This experience became a powerful testament to overcoming that difficult time, filling me with confidence for my future career. Seeing my skills recognized and witnessing them create tangible value made me truly believe that the path I had chosen was the right one. After all, 6 months of hard work later, the project was finally complete. The new report generation system began running smoothly. When we informed the client that future modifications would now be much easier, they gave us high praise. Following this success, Alex officially entrusted me with a leadership position on the development team. "Mason, under your leadership, this team has achieved great results. I'm counting on you to take us even further," he said. Hearing those words filled me with both pride and a sense of responsibility. Through this project, I had overcome the fears and doubts that had been holding me back. It was thanks to Emma, my team, and the development team's support that I had been able to achieve this as a leader. Now I wanted to take on even more projects, guiding the team to greater success. Seeing the entire team grow and improve together became my greatest joy. After the project's successful completion, I made a decision. I decided to invite Emma out to dinner to express my gratitude and to share something deeply important. I was finally ready to tell her how I felt about her. On a slightly chilly autumn evening, I invited Emma to a cozy local Italian restaurant. When she arrived, she wasn't in her usual suit but dressed in a casual outfit. Seeing her like that was refreshing, and I found myself growing nervous. "Thank you for bringing me to such a lovely place, Mason," she said with a smile, which gradually eased my tension. As the evening went on, we talked about the project, our future work, and even personal hobbies. Her laughter and attentive listening made me appreciate her even more, revealing just how deep and kind-hearted she was. When dessert was almost over, my heart began to race. I took a deep breath and decided to speak my mind. Emma, there's another reason I asked you to dinner tonight. Working on this project, I've gotten to know you so much better, and I'm truly grateful for that. And I've also realized that I've grown to care about you. I like you. It was difficult to get the words out, but I looked straight into her eyes as I spoke. She looked surprised at first, but then her face softened into a warm smile. Mason, I feel the same way. I've always relied on you as a team member, but ever since the report fix, I've watched you grow and shine right by your side. I want to spend more time with you too. Hearing her words, my heart overflowed with relief and joy. That moment became one of the happiest in my life. From that day on, we started dating. With each moment we spent together, our bond deepened. Her smile had the power to lift my spirits, no matter how tired or stressed I was. With her support, I found the strength to face the daily pressures of work. Years later, we got married and built a small but happy family together. Having a partner who supported me both at work and in life brought new colors and meaning to my world. Meeting Emma and sharing every day with her is the greatest joy in my life. When I first started looking for a job, I had several difficulties because of the fallout from the Lehman shock. But in the end, my efforts to master computer languages brought me to this joyful future. That challenging time helped to mold me into the person I am now and perhaps helped me get to know Emma. Now that I think about it, I see how those hardships serve as the cornerstone that united us. I will always cherish our meeting and our journey together, maturing together. I think that by sticking by one another, we can get over any obstacles life presents.